has shown up with attention. She poetry in motion, a beautiful sight to see. I get so excited.
People everywhere. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Woo, that was loud. Okay. Would you mind opening that door? Is that Dr. Blake? Okay, I see people coming inside. This is our first host of a gathering since COVID, right? So, welcome. And I'm going to pass it over, and Dr. Shabazz has a nice agenda for us to follow, and I am following her lead.
Thank you, and thank you, thank you everybody for showing up today. I'm so ecstatic to see all of you here, taking time out of your busy schedules, but you showed up. And that is exactly what we need to foster this sense of community amongst Black physicians in Philadelphia. And when we show up together, 2016 or 20, 2016-17, where she served as national president of the National Medical Association. So we have a good history right here in the city. So right now, what I want to do is to turn our attention to one of our sponsors to make sure you had a chance to win this raffle that was in the check-in areas. Omari, where's Omari? Okay, so he's going to give you a brief overview of what he does and give you an opportunity to head on over and share your contact info and have an opportunity to win that beautiful gift basket.
Thank you. So first, let me thank Dr. Stanford and Byron for hosting us. Good time here. Dr. Shabazz for inviting us back. Also, let me thank everybody here for having impact, not only in the communities you serve, but some of you have impact statewide and federal-wide. So a hand to all of you in here being good medical professionals and supporting the communities you operate in. Our team, we're financial advisors, First Trust Financial Resources. We work with a lot of medical professionals and medical executives throughout the East Coast, from as far north as Boston to as far south as Florida. We're here just supporting the organization. We believe a lot in the organization and the impact that you're having, so we will continue to support. We would love to support. Like Dr. Shabazz said.
What's your debt going to be, Bryson, if you can ask?
It's like 90 plus a year.
$90,000 a year for med school.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about that.
$90,000 is so much. It's crazy. So I am the class of 1981 from Temple. I think my class was like $7,000 a year for med school. It's crazy. Crazy. So we need you all to reach into your pockets. Each year we give 5 scholarships, and it's not, we want to do so much more, but our funds are limited. We give 5 scholarships to 5 selected medical students from each of the 5 medical schools in Philadelphia. And it depends on how much money we raise, then we know how much we can give.
Right.
So our goal is to really help these students with that. So when you get out of school, you're going to be $300,000 in debt, right? That's crazy. And they don't pay out that much as interns and residents, so you know. So it's a huge amount of debt so that they can become the future of healthcare providers. I'm going to be retiring soon, not that soon, but soon enough. I was telling Bryson, going to geriatrics, I need someone to take care of me as I get older. But the geriatric population in this country is going to be the largest population in the United States. So we need these young doctors to keep us healthy and take care of us. There are only 5 to 7% of African American students in med school in the United States. We need to pipeline more students from middle school to high school. We're working on programs for that, partnering with Black Doctors White Coat. And so we're hopeful that you guys will be generous enough to donate. It is a tax-deductible donation. We are 501c3, so if you want your tax dollars to go to where you want them to go, please feel free. We'll take your donations anywhere from $25 to $20,000, whatever you'd like to give tonight. It's all tax deductible. So please see me at the table. If not, I'll be making some phone calls for you guys. You guys, some of you have been very, very generous tonight. I thank you all who have donated to our child's economy. Please continue.
Mention the matching.
Yes, and many companies will match whatever you donate. So I'm going to give this back to Dr. Shabazz. Thank you very much.
Especially that we feel in every day that we need support, not just in mentorship, but also in like financial support as well, depending where we come from. We need advice how to navigate residency, how to navigate medical school, and how to navigate prior to medical school, because getting into medical school, they say, is the hardest part. So we need all of that advice.
No, that's the easiest part.
Okay. Well, you see, we need you to correct us and tell us. But I think for us, that's what we're like. We're looking to you sort of as inspiration, and we really would appreciate like anything you can do for us, whether like Dr. Shabazz says, and Dr.
Conference, and
McDonald.
Dr. Shabazz mentioned this, that we can understand NMA is relevant today, probably if not more. And I think we saw that during the time of COVID, right? When we talked about health disparities, health inequities. They need to hear our voice. Dr. Stanford and I shared a few Zoom screens, a few virtual webinars, and oftentimes elected leaders were coming to us saying, we need to hear more what's happening to the Black health, what's happening to our community members, right? And we're two voices, right? She's a pediatric surgeon, I'm a pediatrician, but we need to hear from OBGYNs, we need to hear from cardiologists, we need to hear from all specialties, right? So oftentimes I get a phone call, just as Dr. Shabazz said, I need someone to help me with this. And I'm trying to look through the list, I'm like, wow, I know we have Black physicians here in Philadelphia, but I don't know all of them. So we need for you guys to be present so your voice can be heard, so you're representing your patients, right? Because if we're not speaking, there's other voices that are speaking that are gonna drown us out. Right, so it's really, really important, and especially things that we're working on, right? Prior authorization, we're working on residents and fellows getting out of residency training, right? But then we talked about getting into med school is hard, right? There are trainees who are having challenges now getting out, right? They're getting put on probation, they're getting terminated, and we know that's because of discrimination and bias, right? So we need those of you who are in academic positions or who are attending to be their voice. So we need you. It's not just the financial aspect, right? It's to be present, right? So we can have more numbers at the table, which is why I really, really advocated for us to hold our regional conference here in Philadelphia. With 5 medical schools, numerous hospitals and institutions, there's no reason why we shouldn't have a huge, huge, huge presence, right? For the city, the state to come out to hear what we have to say about Black health in Philadelphia. So we need all of you there. So we're looking at, thank you. So we are looking at the last weekend of April 2023. As I said, I'm still working on contracts and negotiating hotel rates, but that does not affect you all because you live here, right? You can just drive forth, right, back and forth. We are especially looking to have programming for residents and fellows. That's really important. So we need to hear from you all and what you need. Right? So maybe you don't need to hear about managing a practice just yet, but you need to hear about how to find a job. You need to hear about what specialty training to select and so forth. So please come. Pre-medical students and medical students, you guys are here. If you want to be a part of that programming, please let us know. So we are looking for people who might be interested about putting together a slate of programs, right? It's more so giving your suggestions or your ideas. We are working with an admin to do the heavy lifting, but we'd love to hear your input. That's very, very, very important. I think that's all for events on the regional level. I did want to, because we shouted out pre-meds, I did want to recognize, you can get mad that I say that. We talked about NMA, there's the SNMA, right? The Student National Medical Association that we represent. So the immediate past national president, she was president from 2021 to 2022, who went to PCOM, is in the back, Dr. Chantel Thompson. Let them see you. Come on out. Come on out, Chantel. Let them see you. She's used to speaking. And I just highlight that because, again, in our backyard, right, the national president of the SNMA right there, right, who's down residency training. So So she's someone that on the national level NMA collaborates with to understand how we can facilitate that pipeline from graduating students to NMA, but we can also do that locally, right? How are we supporting our local medical students and making sure they get through? So please consider the mentorship program. Please consider engaging in some way. Again, finances is important, but you as people, your numbers are important. So if you're interested, the national level, regional level, or even local level, please come and talk to Dr. Shabazz and I. We are here, and we just want to meet you. We want to know that you're here. We want to be able to connect you in the community as we can. Oh, last one, I did have this, sorry. Dr. Denise Johnson, if you guys don't know, she is the Physician General of Pennsylvania and the Acting Secretary of Health. I actually just had a call with her 3 days ago. She asked me to give her names for people who might be interested to be on the board of the Board of Medicine, right? So that is a clue. What she's asking is not for names, she's asking me for Black physicians, right? Because she's a Black physician herself. So that is something you might be interested in. Please let me know before I leave, so I need to give her 2 names. So that's something you might be interested in, being on the board of the State Board of Medicine, right? That is the governing body that gives us our licenses, right? That is a clue into, do you have any names? She's asking me as the NMA chair, can you send me some Black physicians that are interested, right? So that is something that might be of interest to you, please let me know. All right, thank you all so much. I'm gonna hand this back to Dr. Shabazz.
Had to. I was hiding in the back. I know you were.
It's all we had as far as a program, is, just to do it and.
Thank you, Dr. Shabazz. While everybody is still here, just a couple things. I wanted to make sure people are aware the comments that Dr. Shabazz made, particularly about our students, couldn't ring truer. They obviously need our support. There are also lots of programs now that I'm wearing my U.S. Regional Director hat, programs that are there for financing for students, and so you all should reach out. Well, there are lots of cameras here that are recording me, so I think on Monday you can reach out to my office and I can share that with you. But I say that to say that there are many programs that exist. I can tell you that through the Black Doctors Consortium, we had students that went to medical school for free on scholarship. Especially for Black men right now, because there is such a dire shortage. There's only 4.7% physicians that are African American in the United States, and even less are Black men. And so I encourage you all, as you're coming through, to reach out. I can say specifically to me, and I can help guide you through that. Through the Black Doctors Consortium, we had several folks go to medical school. We had some come through, take their MCATs that reached out, that I wrote letters for and supported. We had one who had been kicked out of residency that I encouraged to go back into the match, who is now a resident. And so I want you all to use us as a resource. With the list that so many of you filled out now, Dr. Shabazz and with the secretarial staff will be able to pull that together. And just see how many internists, how many pediatricians, how many surgeons, how many dermatologists, how many administrative folks. There's a lot of people in this room, and it would take too long for everybody to introduce themselves. That said, if you are someone who is looking for a practitioner, I encourage you to come up here while I'm talking. If you're someone who's looking for assistance for anything, for phlebotomy, for a medical assistant, for anyone, you're in a room full of people, and I don't want us to walk away and for you not to share a need that you might have. I can share that I oversee the FQHCs and this I can say, so I'm the regional director for Region 3, which covers Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia, and the District of Columbia. And in my role, I oversee the operative divisions of CMS, of HRSA, of ASPR, of SAMHSA, of all the places that many of you get your support and funding from. Certainly the FQHCs, also NIH and CDC are also under my peer review. And so I would ask you to reach out if you're having any issues at all. That is my role. For the federal government, I report directly to the Secretary of Health, Javier Becerra, and he reports to the President. So I am responsible for this region, so those concerns, please use me. as an advocate for you. And I would be remiss, and I'm gonna obviously take some here to have Dr. Jabaris, who is the medical director, and Tracy, who is the executive director at the Dr. Ayla Stanford Center for Health Equity, to let you know that we exist at 21st and Lehigh. October will be a year. We have seen probably close to 8 to 10,000 patients since we opened, and serving that community with newborn through octogenarian and behavioral health, and obviously vaccinations and phlebotomy and EKGs and referrals. And we are a resource. But I wanted, because I am wearing a new hat, I wanted you all to see the leadership in that role, and also my brother, who is CEO. The other thing I have to mention, my cousin, who is works for the American Board of Internal Medicine, and she is on the foundation very quietly somewhere over here, is going to stand up. The ABIM, you know, who gives you your boards for internal medicine. She is an executive in that organization. The gentleman for Mainline Health, the oncologist, you need to see him. He is the head of medical oncology. I don't know if Dr. Curtin is still here, but he is the chair of surgery at Abington Hospital. I can tell you, while I was on staff, I was the only Black surgeon there for a decade before he came. And through him, he has brought many residents of color through there. Who else am I missing? Dr. Robin Smith is here. She's a psychiatrist, obviously, and also Brother
Kareem.
Yes,
Dr.
Kareem, thank you.
Salam.
Another psychiatrist has
And Dr. Delane Cassiano.
yes, big, and we know our children right now need that behavioral health. And so I know it's not enough time for everybody to introduce, but I just wanted you all to know that these resources are in this room. And most times we can find a pediatrician, we can find a family practice, but behavioral health, psychiatry, that's real for our children right now and what they're experiencing. Medical oncology, we know that all the diagnoses have been delayed because of COVID. That brother runs the medical oncology at Mainline Health, and that may not be where you seek your care, but it may be where you can get a resource.
Celebration of Giving benefit, that's October 29th. We're hosting at the Comcast Center, and we would like all of you to attend the event. We are not selling tickets. We are accepting donations, and we will be in touch with you via email to notify you of the great work that we're doing. Kamau, I would like for you to share some of the things that we've achieved thus far at the center.
Well, I think I'm going to defer to Jabaris Wade, who is a cardiothoracic surgeon, to talk about the medical side, but then I'll talk about Jabaris.
Excellent. Well, again, I just want to extend the same thanks for everyone coming to join us today. It really is a privilege, honestly, to walk around and to see the faces from medical student to resident to fellow to attending to seasoned staff to retiree, and to see how many people that look like us. This is something that, having trained at the University of Pennsylvania, I never really saw. Walking through the halls as a resident and then moving on to fellowship, etc. And so we should really be proud of the village that we have here, and we should try to embrace it. And any opportunity that we have to come together in this fashion, I think we should take advantage.
Promoting a website and an information source called Stars to Docs. And the purpose of that site is to help remove some of the barriers that our elementary and grade school stars, academic stars, encounter in the path to becoming STEM leaders. This is a room full of STEM leaders, and everybody who's a STEM leader had to cross a bunch of barriers to get here. I think to become a doctor, one of the largest barriers is the barrier to getting into medical school. But it's tough all the way. And unfortunately, there are many, many around Philadelphia in this country, many young people who have all the mental capacity to do what you do, but who'll never get an opportunity because some teacher thinks they don't have the ability. Or they won't get the opportunity because their parents think that they're going to get a career in football. And I think that we need to try to work those problems through. And I think the best organization is us. We put together a website, it's called Stars to Docs, Stars to Docs, DOCS. The idea is to help remove barriers to allow academic stars to become STEM leaders, doctors, engineers, dentists, veterinarians, etc. And that site is really a hub of information about programs around the country, information about great books written by African-American doctors and other STEM leaders, inspirational books, information about Khan Academy, a great resource for learning math and sciences, information about colleges that commit themselves to no student loans. There are a couple of dozen colleges in this country that say if you get accepted to our college, you won't leave with a student loan. And that's important for people to know about. So we're working on putting together a collection of information for parents and for students and for teachers and for local community STEM-related leaders like doctors and engineers so that they can all work in unison for the purpose of removing some of those barriers and helping to promote our young stars to go on to become the docs that they can be. So please visit starstodocs.org. The website is fledgling right now. All we really have on there right now are about 20 videos of young African-American leaders doing things that are impressive. We got a pilot, we got a couple of engineers, we have several veterinarians, we have several doctors. These are careers that kids may not have seen anybody do, it looks like that. So these are short sort of day-in-the-life videos that give some idea of what the possibilities could be for their future. That's just a small part of what we plan to do with this site. And anyone who's interested in the site, I've got a flyer, I'll give it to you with my email address on it. And right now there are 4 of us working on the project. A friend of mine who's an OBGYN, retired doc down in Florida, my home state. And my brother who's a retired executive with Boeing. And my sister who's chief of community services for the city of Orlando. The 4 of us are working together on that project right now. But we're looking to expand it, and we'd certainly like to get some young blood involved in this project because we like this project to live on long after we do. So that's my presentation. Thank you, Dr. Stanford, for allowing me to make it. Have a great day.
Is she ready to close, or is it Dr. Rob?
To it, but not yet. So let me just say what it means. Can I just hand this to you for 1 second? To be here. This is sacred, holy ground. You know, there's a passage in the scripture where Moses has this encounter, and he's told by God to take his shoes off because the ground he's standing on is holy. And so I hope that we will not only be impressed as extraordinary to have this kind of brain power and bravery and boldness all wrapped in blackness in the same room, but let us not miss how important it is to realize that this is more than a profession, it's a calling. And I have a quote that I want to leave you with, which is starve the lie and feed the truth. So the lies that so many of us, whether we are physicians or administrators or ministers, whatever we are, there's so many lies that have been put in our minds and in our bodies. And the battleground is not just the body. The real battleground is the mind. Because if you can get to someone's mind, you can help them change and master their life. But if someone else gets to your mind first, they will master and control your life. And so our moment here right now is to not leave here. I mean, this is an amazing, I heard somebody say it's, I don't know, did I hear palatial or something about this home, and it is. But what we're looking at is someone who's paid the price, who has suffered and triumphed. And I'm hoping that we can be inspired, I mean gassed up like never before, to go out and be the work, be the healing, be the mirror to our communities in particular who feel so invisible. You know, one of the greatest wounds is the wound of invisibility, when you don't see someone. You know, when they show up, but they feel, and people are nodding, yes, because we know the pain of being invisible. And so tonight is really about showing up It's about wake up, show up, grow up, rise up, so that we can transform adversity and hardship into purpose and into power. So I send you out tonight, really bold and unapologetic, to be the carrier of the message, be the carrier of the healing, be the carrier of the good news of healing and transformation.
Are we adjourned?